what's up, fam? Welcome back to another episode of the Business Inside Out podcast. With me as your host, I am Dr. Daniel Kimbley, and I'm super fired up today. There was amazing surf in Southern California this morning, and I thought of this crucial message that I had to share with you. So I literally hopped out of the shower, just hit record on the camera, and I had to bring it to you right now because if not, I would probably forget it later. And so here's where my head goes today as I was out in these amazing waves. They were massive, having a blast. And there's this idea that I heard Alex Hormozi talk about recently on one of his podcasts, and he talked about the idea of finite games that have set rules, set players, and there's a win or a lose, and then infinite games which don't have set rules, they don't have set players, the players can change, the rules can change, and on top of that, you never win or you never lose, because the rules constantly change, so you can't win or lose by definition. And so as I'm thinking about all this stuff, I'm just thinking about the surfing today, and I had this experience in the water that I had to share with you because I think it's so crucial to be able to apply to your business and to your life. So what we know about infinite games is that you can actually apply them, yes, to your business, of course, I'm going to talk about that on this episode, but you can also apply them to your physical body and how you look at your fitness and how you look at your health. You can apply them to your spirituality and your religion and what you connect to, whether it's God or something else. And then obviously you can also allow this to guide you in terms of a relationship conversation as well. And so here's what went down is I'm out on surfing, and I'm out on a board that's shorter than I normally surf. And the reason I did that is because I just wanted to challenge myself. So I have a board that I'm very comfortable with. I have another little bit shorter board that makes it a little bit more challenging to catch waves. And I got into this spot that's very difficult to surf because it's hard to predict where the wave's gonna break. You can either be stuck way inside and you just get pummeled by the wave, or you can be stuck on the outside and you don't catch anything. Well, for the longest time with this shorter board that I was on the inside just getting pummeled by wave after wave after wave, not catching anything. And if you think of a finite game with surfing, the finite game in surfing, whether you win or whether you lose, is to literally catch a wave and surf the wave and then paddle back out and do it again. This was not happening for me. I was literally getting my butt kicked, and it's probably the hardest that I've ever worked in the water, ever. Like, my arms are still shaky. I can feel them as I'm sitting here sharing this with you. So the question is, why do I share this with you? And this is the reason. It's because I got to this place where I was tired. I was just sick of getting pummeled by the waves. I was getting sick of being rolled over and over and over and over again and not being able to breathe and being out of breath and seeing another wave come and the same thing. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to just simply paddle with all of my might, and not enough where I'm gonna like max out, but I'm gonna just paddle and I'm not going to stop. And I don't care how far out I have to paddle, but I'm going to get past where these waves are breaking, and I'll figure out what I'm gonna do when I get out there. And so literally for probably 15, 20 minutes, my friends are like off to the side and they're like, dude, I can't believe he's going out there. Like, this dude's crazy. Which it was kind of crazy. It was a dumb decision, but it wasn't a dumb decision in the context of thinking about this idea of infinite versus finite games. And so the infinite game became, I'm just going to keep going. I'm not going to stop paddling. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to do exactly what I need to do to make sure that I can take a break and rest and recover and like figure out the world around me and figure out if it's even worth trying to catch one of these waves, right? Now the finite game that Alex Hormozi talks about would be to like, when I catch a wave, then I win, right? Winning for me completely changed. And this is the coolest part about it, is that I got to choose the rules that I play by or didn't play by. And you get to do the same. Like, you get to choose what rules you play by. You get to choose whether you focus more on revenue or more on profit. You get to choose whether you focus more on new patients or retention. You get to choose what kind of experience you have in your practice. You get to choose what kind of relationship you have with your wife or your husband and your kids. You get to choose every single thing that comes your way every single day. And when I'm out in the water, I'm standing in the shower and I'm reflecting back on like I just had this massive breakthrough and this relief of like, hey, guess what? It doesn't matter about catching the wave necessarily, because catching the wave, as soon as I catch it, I'm gonna want to catch another one. So like, I won for a second and I feel good, and then I'm like, oh, well, I got to paddle back out and do it again. When I let go of this concept of like, you know what, I don't even care if I catch a wave, I'm just gonna get out there far enough so I have the possibility of doing it at a level that no one else could do it at. And the game completely changed for me. Like, I literally had more fun surfing today than I probably ever had, and I caught the fewest waves that I've ever caught. And the reason is because I switched my mindset from this idea of a finite game to an infinite game. And the infinite game was, get out there. It doesn't matter what waves you catch. Most people would say in surfing, the idea is to catch waves. And while I would agree with that, my focus changed. And guess what? When my focus changed, my fun changed. My frustration of getting pounded on the inside went to fun. And the finite game and the journey of like, I'm just gonna get out there. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care how tired my arms are. I don't care if my abs are cramping up. I don't care if my butt's cramping up. I don't care how many times I get thrown off my board. I'm just literally going to get out there. Now, getting out there for you is like whatever target you want it to be, but here's the coolest part. As soon as I got out there, what did I want to do? I wanted to catch a wave. And so there's this idea that like when you realize that you can play by the rules inside of your life, inside of your business, inside of your relationships, inside of your physical body, that you can't lose. Like the only way you can lose is if you quit. The only way that I would have lost and got out of the water, not catching very many waves, feeling frustrated, is if I decided that the rules that I played by were if I catch waves, then I win. And if I don't catch waves, then I lose. But the reality is, I realize that that's a finite game. And the infinite game is being able to do it and enjoy being in the ocean. And there's just like this love and this appreciation of like the weather and the waves and the wind and like all of it. And then having friends out there watching me and thinking I'm crazy, like no idea what's going through my head. And I'm out there literally talking out loud to myself like, Daniel, do not stop. Do not stop. Do not stop. And I have the same message for you today. And I couldn't be more clear to share it with you. Is like, just don't quit. Like if you're doing something that works, don't stop doing it. If you're doing stuff that's not working for you, then change the rules and stop doing it. Like I see so many people who have practices who are like, oh, I'm struggling, patients are down, it's the economy, nobody wants to come in, nobody wants to commit to a care plan, nobody will pay those prices. Like there's all these excuses that I hear practitioners make, and the reality is, it's like, change the game. Like change the things that aren't working and change the rules. There's no finite game when it comes to business. And when you change your rules, you can level up. This is why inside of the Nexus Method, in the programs that I teach people how to frame and how to have conversations. There are rules that are happening inside of your office that your patients are dictating. And when you can change the rules, you can start to change the game. And you can turn it from a finite game to an infinite game. And this is what's so fun about business and about life and about surfing. And what I wanted to share with you today is this idea that like when you go all in on yourself and you start to catch yourself and your thoughts and the patterns and actions and routines and beliefs and things that you have, and you start to level those up, you can start to play and approach games that are infinite. Like, who cares if you collect 7 figures if you have no profit, right? Like a lot of people are like, I just want 7-figure practice. That's great, but do you realize the team that it's gonna have? Do you realize the tax that it's gonna take on you and your family possibly? Like, if you can have a 7-figure practice and have a bunch of profit, that's amazing, right? Like, this is the kind of stuff that we teach, is that when you set the rules of the game and when you're aware of the rules of the game, then you can radically transform your practice. You can radically transform your finances. You can stop feeling stuck. You can stop feeling this pressure of people like telling you how you should practice, even though you know it's the right way, but you just don't know that there's a different way. There is an infinite game out there waiting for you, and I would love to teach it to you. I have a number of different programs. If you're interested, you can reach out, DM me on Instagram, send me a message, comment on this, whatever you want to do. That's all I have for you. Start playing infinite games. Where in your life can you start to change the rules of the game, change the players of the game, so that you never win or lose and you just continue to grow and you continue to expand, just like I did with surfing. My friends, I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you have a fantastic week. And as you know, I'm going to come at you live again next week. Peace.